You see, Matti was behaving like everyone else until he turned 17. That's when he discovered that he had something in him that wanted to come free. An inner drive, an intensity, even a madness, one could say. That energy has been untouched until that point, but once he started to apply it, his life started to change dramatically. You see, most people have this inner madness but leave it locked behind closed doors. But imagine what you could achieve if you tap into that void just every now and then, unleash that beast that society tells you to keep locked up. Imagine what you could become. This is the story of a boy that found his calling early, but waited until the age of 32 to finally answer it, aiming for the top of the sport, all in every single day, and he is taking you along the journey. I hope you enjoy. Let's get into it.
Good morning YouTube, I hope you guys are well. We're having another big training day today, which I'll take you guys along, but first let's get some breakfast. So something that works for me now for sure is just doing oats, like the quick oats in the microwave. It's pretty quick and efficient, it's like a minute or two. Definitely always a banana. And sometimes I take those sugar-free juices I have in Finland here, but now I also have some jam. New addition to the team today, what I put in, that's peanut butter, so for some extra calories. This is easily digestible for a session, and then definitely at least 2 cups of coffee. And as you saw from Texas, those guys made it over. For the American listeners, you obviously know what it is, but in Europe, nobody has an idea what this is. I mean, you can guess, the Europeans can probably guess what it is. They're called coolzies. And yeah, you just put like a cola can or whatever in there. It's a quality of life upgrade. It's insane. As you can see from the size of the coffee cup, it's a bit of fatigue in the body. So what we have planned today, we have a 5.5k endurance swim. I plan to do this swim in the future for sure. In the open water, that's one of the sessions I'll do for sure in the open water, endurance swims. But also some workouts, that's a big learning. I would go right now. It's a bit of a hassle to go because it's like 10k away. And the legs are not quite fresh, are still a bit fresh in the morning. So I think I'll skip that one and do it in the pool now. After that we'll be having a 4-hour ride. I'll do that on a TT bike. Lots of aerobic riding and riding, yeah, pretty solid. And then a half an hour 8k run off at aerobic pace as well. So all pretty aerobic at these stages, especially today, because yesterday I had a bit harder day. And morning was a bike with some strength reps, 4 times 15 minutes, low cadence work. And then into the pool, a 6k swim. There I did the first time this threshold set, 20 times 100 meters on 130. And there I could really see my weakness, which is great. So I keep working on that. So I started at this, it's long course meters. I started at the 118 pace. And yeah, then I built it after 10 reps a little bit more to like the 115, 16 range. And I did a few like that. But then I saw even my heart rate got to 167, which is kind of the threshold range there for the water. And then I started to dip to the 118, 117, 118 range again towards the end. So overall, it's cool. It's really something I have to work on, and I do now, obviously. So it's that was a good set. And then in the evening, there I noticed I had to run. I was a bit low on energy, for sure. I have to eat more. So I got some things like the peanut butter, even some chips, which is just calories, right? And yeah, some Nutella, stuff like that in the evening, and some nuts. Those kind of things, some high caloric foods when energy is running low on big days. But I still had a really good session. That was interesting compared to the week before. We can have a look at that now. So those 2 runs, this and this, it's really interesting how one week to the next, how it changes. So the climate was the same, temperature was the same, the running terrain was the same. One run was 1k longer, as you can see, but really interesting how to see. That's kind of what I'm looking for as well. How heart rate was lower for even a bit more elevation gain, and the pace was higher. So this is kind of what I'm looking for week to week in this new system as well, that allows that to seed it like that. And yeah, although I felt a bit low energy, it's really good. Legs were good, and yeah, so I'm happy with that. But I'm gonna get this all down now, and then I get back to you after. one thing that's exciting is also coming through, like consistently working on this YouTube thing. You know, I started with this in, what was it, 2021, I believe, and then on and off, and I was like stuck at 2,000 subscribers for super long. Some videos didn't do well, and then I kind of figured out this whole algorithm thing, because it's a bit of an art, to be honest. Even why you're watching this video right now is not per se coincidence, because it's a bit of an art, same as Netflix, for example, works, is that, you know, the thumbnail and title, they have to kind of, some kind of go into this controversial world with like thumbnail and even title while you click it, but it always has a negative touch to it, and I don't want anything negative in my videos. And so yeah, I try to fill the curiosity box. So it's a bit of a tricky one, because you don't want to go this extreme one, you know, like extreme YouTube hype thing, but you have to somehow make it interesting. So I'm gonna try my best with titles and all this to keep it, you know, in a normal realm and not be this extreme, you know what I mean probably. But anyways, what I wanted to show you is some great things are coming through this. I'm working on something there that's coming, which I'm super excited about. And one thing, for example, basically just through YouTube, is one of the guys from Orca is watching this channel, and yeah, he just sent me over one of the wetsuits, which I'm super grateful about, because I've been wearing the Orca wetsuit before. I've been trying a lot of wetsuits in the past, but for the last 3 years I've been wearing the Orca Alpha, which is a bit older model by now, I guess. But they sent me the new one over, that one here. So I don't have to do anything per se in sharing it, but I want to, because yeah, it's the first time I'm swimming this one. I already had it on and it felt really good. Yeah, a lot higher quality than the one I had for sure. You can just see here it's really nice and thin, but they still have the pads, and shoulder mobility, super great. This one has a bit more leg lift. It's interesting, you can see in the front, the thighs here is kind of a bit more padding. And yeah, we'll see how it swims now, how that feels. So excited for that. The first 1, 2, 3 times, I assume I have to break it in a little bit in terms of just like getting used to my body with the shoulders and stuff, but curious how it feels. Then one thing I've been doing for my swims, or in general, especially longer ones when you have other training sessions as well, is fuel the sessions. So yeah, I did this many times before with you guys, or most of you guys know it. This is just a pure sodium, so there will have 600 grams of sodium, milligrams, not grams, and just water, and here's some simple sugar, 80 grams actually, because I got the 4-hour ride later and a half-an-hour run, so it will still be a 6-hour, 5.5-hour day or something. So of course I have quality meals in between, but like fueling is just really key to feel as little depleted as possible, also for the next days, you know. So I do know that I already put 2 spoons in. One of those spoons is exactly 20 grams. So this is just pure sugar. Normal sugar you can buy is 1-to-1 glucose fructose. Morton is 0.8 to 1 glucose fructose. I hope I didn't mess the order up, but yeah, it's basically similar, so except a lot cheaper for now, but it's of course not the exact same as Morton, but comes really close for training, so I like it. These are just, as I said, the sodium pills. Of course you don't pop them in like this, you can just open them, that's a cool thing, super easy. Bam. You could just put, you know, you could say, why don't you use normal salt, just like Himalayan salt. Can do, but there's also some other stuff in there which you don't really want in there, so you mainly want the sodium during the training. Also you don't need, you know, the magnesium and all this stuff during the training. Mainly the sodium you need for muscle function and yeah, concentration, dehydration and all this stuff. So I got this one here in. I'm gonna put this on the pool side and gonna keep zipping throughout. That makes a big difference when you come out of a session, so especially with dehydration, because when you're working in the pool, especially now with the wetsuit, you know, you're gonna be sweating still a little bit, but yeah, not too much. I think should be good. So look forward to it. Nice 5.5k swim. What I will be doing is, so it's basically ladder, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1000 meters with short rest in between, all aerobic, and that's 5.5k. So yeah, I look forward to having then the outdoor workouts as well with the guy. I'm still in touch with him and waiting for the reply, so we built a system in detail, but those are the first few sessions, especially the threshold one and this other stuff that I'm working on for my swimming. Really excited for the journey and to see how that comes down. I think in the past also put too much emphasis on this side of or the equation basically of like mechanics versus just raw fitness, because you hear both sides. Some are just super fit and they just smash their arms around and they haven't been good swimmers and they become good, better swimmers, but to a certain degree, right? Some people are just then always stuck at a certain line. Then the mechanics comes in, of course. So I think mechanically I'm actually not too bad. From like, you know, doing handball in the past and the physio knowledge, kind of like hand-eye coordination is good, but for now it's just gonna be a lot of, you know, putting the miles in, and I'm curious how the times come down. For example, the aerobic pace, which is kind of the LT1 pace, that's something that will be, of course, super key for me, for Ironman, and of course my thresholds, first and second thresholds. So let's see, I'm committed to the journey. I'm pumping out pretty good weekly volume, around the 30K mark, which doesn't mean too much in swimming if you just swim 30K easy, but if you have 30K with quality in the aerobic swimming, that will do something, I believe. Let's see, only time will tell, and weekly progress. I'm gonna be jumping in the water now with my little drink and a wetsuit. I just did my dry land warm up, and also the goggles here, they're really nice. They're soft that I'm cut in, and swim cup, heart rate. One small gadget you probably know, I like that one. So this one was on there, so you just put this off so it stays nice and sticky, and afterwards when I'm done with the swim I put it back on, because you probably know if you had a wetsuit that this sticks everywhere and eventually loses its grip as well, and you want that to be, you know, closing nicely. So yeah, let's get in there. We just got the wetsuit on. It's pretty warm by now because it's getting humid. I did dry land warm up, but going to be hopping in now. Got my drink, got everything. Feels really good right now. Let's see how it is, how it feels. Because also what we can see is afterwards, I did this same set last week with just with swim pants, no tools. So it's going to be cool to see the exact splits and difference, just aerobic pace, also with heart rate from last week to this week. So yeah, I'm gonna get in. We can film now, but this is as good as it gets. So I'm gonna hop in and then check in after. So I just finished the set. Oh, it's really good. Really happy with this. Compared to last week, we can have a look in a bit. But definitely happy with this. Also did the old run out. So I ran out and did a little jog here around the side of the pool. Can't show everything because of people. But a little run out and then slipped it off. So really easy on the legs, especially on the arms. For the watch you have to gently, that's a good one, because I swim with the watch now, with a heart rate, slipped it off. That was really good. But overall super happy, definitely better than my old one, which again, even with high quality products, you're just never sure if it fits for you and for your swim style and everything. But this one definitely faster, a lot faster. Yeah, we can see how much exactly in a little bit. We can compare last week's sessions to this, but yeah, feel really good in it. The whole thing did 5.5k in 122 average, and heart rate first in this 135s and then 140s. 140 is my low zone 2, 140 to 150 is my zone 2 range. And the main thing is I'm getting, you know, this year I'm super boiling. I got really hot, so I'm happy that I had the water here to drink. But overall, good session. Get some food in now, and overall better than last week in the sense that aerobically I feel better from breathing wise, and also muscle wise I feel also better, less taxing. So could even up at the last 200. I just thought, let's get the cadence up a bit again, and yeah, happy with this. So now I'm just gonna give it a good wash, and then especially, like I said before, see it already sticks to this one. I gotta put this part back on here, give it a good rinse, because of course with chlorine is not perfect for the suit, so I'm not gonna do this all the time. But yeah, overall happy. One thing I also wanted to say when it comes to brands and in general promoting this kind of sales person side as a pro triathlete, which is a part of it, but I think a lot of people get confused eventually when the interest starts flooding in. For example, when I will start winning races and the brands start calling or whatever, maybe before already, then yeah, I know exactly what I want, right? For example, a good example is Michael Jordan when it comes to this. He said, for example, the reason he has the big Nike deals and all those things is because what he does on the court. That's the only reason, right? You can say, okay, there's the social media side of it, but the main thing brands are interested in is, are you winning? Are you performing frequently? And I feel like a lot of athletes that kind of are on the rise and they did amazing and they suddenly start taking these big deals and you see them pumping out content in terms of like promotion all the time, but their results, they start going down. They're not getting better. So there is a real, if a brand comes eventually and says, hey, here's this pile of money, but we want this commitment for it. For example, if a brand, let's say, pays you 100 grand a year for something, a bike brand or whatever, if they pay you that, they're gonna want the money out of you. Yes, performance, they expect that, but also you have to be flying from A to B, all those things, and they play into you not being able to train. So number one for me will always be not the money, because if I wanted the money, I would have done the career I did before. So if you want to go down the money route in life, which is totally fine, if you want to find out what that's like, and thing is though, the more money you get, the more you're going to spend. So let's say you get all this income, eventually what you will do is you will buy a nicer car, bigger leasing, or even you buy the whole thing, you will just spend more. You spend more and feel like you're going to get more and more money. An example is a lot of Switzerland, they make 20k a year, for example, a month, but they spend 25k a month in outcome. So all they're gonna do is spend more. So I have no interest in that route at all. So I'm never gonna forget this, even when, you know, the big brands come rolling in, they put all those paychecks in front of you, and you know, everybody has that greed side and like, oh my god, money. And like I said, you see a lot of athletes currently in the sport that I objectively think they did mistakes in taking brand deals on that took so much of their time, so much of their energy, that they don't have time to do the basic job, which is train very hard. So I want to become world champion, and the only reason to get there is to dedicate absolutely everything to my craft. And there are going to be brands out there that are going to be interested in seeing, okay, let's support him in this way, but we know what his journey is. Like, we know what he's after. He's after the title and performing. So I'm always going to take the deal that gives flexibility over money. So saying that, everything I'm going to promote as an athlete is something I'm going to be believing in and a brand that I want to work with. Otherwise it doesn't make the cut, because there were before some things that were sent to me, and if they don't show up in a video, it's just not something, especially product wise, I'm never going to show something in a video that I don't believe works or is worth mentioning, not for a paycheck. So I guess that's now important to say, because I want to train, I want to perform first. I'll just have some mincemeat and just full wheat pasta. No veggies now actually, because of digestion, just that I get it all in. Veggies sent tonight. And let's have a look at a swim. Alright, let's have a look just at my training peaks, just at the two different sessions, what I did this week and what I did last week. Alright, let's have a look at the swim session today with a wetsuit and last week without wetsuit. Let's start with the session from today. So this is one here, 5.5k, 122 average. As you can see, I do the watch. Unfortunately, the Polar one, because of Garmin Polar, I assume they're not synced, doesn't show the heart rate here, so I have it in a separate app. Let's have a look at the stats here. There's my average stroke rate, 29. My best pace, okay. So like as you see, total time 118 and moving time 115. So very short rests in between the set. But yeah, what's kind of important is the average pace. So let's have a look at this. Then last week. So here's last week's sessions. As you can see, I think the timing, it isn't exactly right, because it also did 5.5 there. There it says 131 average pace. Yeah, total time 130, moving time 125. It's also short rest, but in general a lot slower in this sense. So yeah, you can see quite a big difference. So here if you think like that, the same effort. I mean, of course, it's not scientific, day-to-day differences, sessions, everything, but in general, yeah, you can see at least, if you would think like that, it's kind of like 8 or 9 seconds. I did 122, they did 131 even, daily. Of course, 1 week later, you're a bit fitter, but yeah, it even would say 8 seconds quicker with a wetsuit, so that's quite a lot. I noticed for sure that with the wetsuit here, it's a big difference versus the old one I had because of the leg buoyancy thing. So happy with this, really happy I got it. Thanks Orca for sending this one over. Here we got my lunch, some fats as well, a bit of olive oil as well for extra calories here, but just a little bit. And otherwise this is, the Finns will know it, the junkie stew, they call it. It's not like that, but it's super tasty actually. They have a really nice ketchup here. So that's just this full wheat pasta with mincemeat and that. Really nice for digestion and yeah, good food. Here's my bike. Still gotta put this off the trainer here. Get everything ready, but that's pretty quickly done. Also my helmet, the lights are charged, music is charged, pump always. And I got a new little friend here, a little tiny compressor. Pretty cheap, 15 bucks, but it's just for a car, so I gotta get the adapter for this. This will be to do the sealant one for this, so I can do it myself because it's super easy. Bike shops are trying to explain that it's like super complicated and all that, but it's not. So actually it's not. Most of you guys will know, but with these tubeless things, they made it kind of complicated. I thought I could mess it up in a sense that, you know, when it's not sealing properly. But the only way that you know that it's not sealed, the tire, is when it's leaking. So if it's not leaking, it's sealed. So pretty damn easy, but you do need a compressor or something like it. Just a CO2 or normal pump will not do. And then I got those after Yuki there in Texas did my bike stuff. I got the whole package here. This one is ridiculous. I had the Makov one before, which is already great, but how he cleaned my bike, it looked like a new bike, ridiculous. So got this, and also here the drip for the chain end for the race, so I can do it all myself. And yeah, then we are ready to go. Oh wait, while we're in the corner here, look at my new friend, which I bought used. Look at this beauty. Normally it costs 2,800, so this is a nice upgrade to my old one. Really happy with this high quality stuff, especially with the hub. Next level, look at this beauty, really love it. And DT Swiss has a nice sound, so yeah, love this one. So I got everything ready here for my run after, just my shoes. I'm not sure if those are done. This is my last run in them to see if they might be worn down. I have a feeling they are, so probably last one in them. Socks, cap, shoes, watch, and yeah, that's basically it. The long ride has been annoying because you always so much to get everything ready, always nutrition, and then I just put the lights on the bike. Now gotta make the nutrition for all rides, so I'm gonna take the whole shebang. So one bottle here, yeah, 80 grams per hour, something like that. And then even the aero bottle here. I could put the frame one, but yeah, one here. So I got 3 bottles for sure, plus the aero bottle, mainly for liquid because, yeah. And then I got a bit spare clothing as well now. A vest and the arm sleeves because the air is a little bit fresh. So yeah, just gotta get everything ready and then we roll out. Then I take the camera with as well, so I'll take some footage, but not doing the riding on a TT is too dangerous. With crashing is a bit. Then some normal calories as well. Normally I would take some nuts as well, just for like healthy calories, because just sugar all the time, especially longer rides, not ideal, I believe. For racing, of course, but in training, I don't know, that can be healthy. But main thing is, you know, that you're staying on top of your calories and nutrition. Really important if you're training hard. So now I actually jump some just for calories, you know, because it's still gonna be a big calorie day. Some oat cookies with some chocolate as well. Just, you know, making sure I get those calories in. Because you see a lot of people, also a lot of patients in the past that had, you know, there's even a trendy name for it, stressy. and it shouldn't be a thing, stress fractures. And to stress fractures, unlike people don't like to talk about it, there is always a nutritional component. And if you don't fix that nutritional component, meaning you are in a low calorie deficit, yes, even with running and there is a stress thing, like unless you had something like you hit it against something and then the bone kind of fractured in a sense. If you have it in the navicular, in the foot, on the sacrum or anywhere, there's always a nutritional component to that. So if people don't fix that, they're gonna keep having stress fractures. So I think there's a time of the year, like Jan Frodeno I think did it really well eventually. For example, that he managed to, you know, once a year when you're peaking, you're like at this 5% body fat for like 2-3 weeks. And that's an art to get there and easy to mess up still. And then you're like in this peak form, because of course for racing you want low body fat and all that. But it's a fine line, because if you messed that one up before, you know, you're just in a compromised state, meaning your tendons, your bones, everything. So rather be like 1 kilo or 2 over than 1 kilo or 2 under, because the price of being under is significant, meaning injury, sickness, because you're kind of in a catabolic state, right? Meaning you're in a breakdown state. And how do you want to perform to your maximum and training and like be kind of in a building up state, if you think about it? You can't be in this catabolic state. Breaking down and losing weight. It's I love it that the Norwegians, for example, they bring like a healthy side to the sport now, and they talk about it because they're kind of like, why would you listen to me? I'm just some dude. But for example, they have all the results on paper to make you believe and trustworthy. So they have a great podcast as well, Norwegian Method, I believe it's called. Have a listen to them if you don't want to listen to me and don't believe me, because yeah, just some physio guy. Many approaches out there, but they bring another perspective to the sport, which I think is very healthy, because I believe there's a lot of unhealthiness still in the sport around when it comes to nutrition. So performance first, weight and losing weight and looking sexy, that's bodybuilding. We're looking for performance day in, day out, and that needs fueling. Talking about weight, I'm keeping an eye on that, so I'm skating like twice a week. Somewhere when I started this block, I was like at 85. So every week now I'm kind of losing 500 grams. Now I was like 83.7 or something, which is okay. It's all good for training. Like I said, when I feel like I'm kind of low on energy and then kind of goes towards the sense that I'm not performing well, I'm kind of like feeling, you know, it's not worth it. So I'm kind of finding a healthy approach with this as well. Because you gotta optimize weight, but it can be a goal to lose weight. I think if you're thinking let's do this little screw with weight, I don't think you're training very hard. Because if you're training hard, you're like, I gotta get in the calories, I gotta get in the fuel, otherwise I cannot perform tomorrow. And you will see it quickly. If you don't fuel, next day, couldn't forget it. So still a bit fresh. I take this one as well, it's just those buff things. Most visible color I could find. Again, visibility key on the road. Just my little multi-tool here. Plug that one in with a spare tire and all this stuff. Pump I got. Pop that one on. My little e-bike helmet. So 4 hours, the battery is still okay, but so what I will do is, so I have 4 hours of visibility. The reasons I'm not so paranoid with this light is because I've been taken out by a car. And it could have gone very badly, wheelchair and all that. When I arrived at the hospital, 4 doctors were rushing to me, then you know, that's not good. So it was just basically, it could have been avoided. I had LED in the back flashing, but it could have been avoided by having a flashing LED in the front of my bike. Then they would have seen me, but they kind of didn't see me. Classic scenario, and boom. But yeah, so I always have LED flashing front and back. I highly advise you to please, if you pay 10,000 for a bike, just buy yourself a LED that's kind of USB rechargeable. $50 for the front and back. Yes, $100 or whatever euros, but that's kind of your life. The only thing you got on the bike is your helmet and visibility with clothing, which this I'm not ideal. I'd rather have orange, but that one is really good with the pockets. But I got the lights, so What I will do first is I first will have the lights on front and back, and I know they last about 2 hours, and then I'll put the helmet on for the second part, so I got kind of visibility for the whole ride, you know. Again, for consistency, if you're out on the road riding, I can only be consistent out on the road riding if I'm not crashing. So okay, so we got this music, this, I think we are ready to roll. I gotta pump the tires still, and then we are ready to roll. So goal for the ride is aerobic riding. So yeah, most of the times I'll be riding around 260, 280, 300 watts, somewhere there on the hills. Up to threshold, so like 330, 340, 350, but on the downhills it's quite a hilly loop. So normalized power is somewhere only around 260-ish. But versus, for example, Texas, 260 there when it's all flat, it's much easier than here. So it's actually probably more around 280-ish, but we'll see what it is in the end. But it's a bit up and down, so down you're spinning, doesn't matter. It's good training and TT, time trialing, because the biggest watts don't win, but the biggest speed in the end. So this is something I was obviously lacking before those races, because I didn't train outdoors, because I couldn't. But in the future I will for sure do camps, of course, when financially it's easier. But we got it all, we're ready to roll. Got the loop, 130k or something like that, and then I'll be back for the run. Sorry guys, actually gonna leave the camera here. I'm already pretty packed, and yeah, with those rides anyways gotta focus and can't just stop and go all the time. But I'll come back and show you what I did, and beautiful riding, TT riding. Next time when I do a road bike I can show you as well. But back to work, gotta focus. Rolling out, see you in a bit. Back again, nice ride for sure. There was a bit of a construction part in between. That was a bit mentally challenging because a beautiful tire, but all good. And then I got out of it and had a really strong back end last half an hour, just pushing last the hills a little bit and really just feeling good, good energy, having a healthy, great body. And now the run, just half an hour, 8k, and then we did it. And then food is already waiting, which is awesome. That and lots of food, but great ride, getting stronger for sure. Luckily I had the arm sleeves with, still a bit fresh the wind, northern wind. Changing socks, those are just thin ones for cycling. Those are still my favorite, the old Lululemon ones. It needs to be something kind of like thick, so you don't slip. That's pretty huge actually. Socks I'm really picky, and you should be as well I guess, because if you slip in the shoes, they kind of, then the flexors of the foot, like the small ones, like under that grip, they have to like stabilize a lot more. And oftentimes, yeah, like anything that makes you unstable when you land is obviously not good for the alignment of things like Achilles or knee. Those are the first that get the impact and the issues if it's not stable, the landing, or not as it should be. So socks, yeah, but really happy. I'm feeling, I had a little bit of a lull after 2 hours. I don't know, mentally, physically, when you have a like emotional lull, always pop in some calories, but I think it was just so much flat time trialing and being the position at some point. Also music and everything gets a bit boring. It's called endurance sports, so you gotta endure. It's not all part of it, but then I try to get myself out of it with some visualizing a race, or just whatever you gotta do to keep it fun. Also in the end there, after the construction, just going over stones and stuff was a bit useless because it's not doing anything, right? It's not efficient for training, it's not good for your gear, it's basically nothing was unplanned. But again, you can't change it in that moment, so after that, the last half an hour, instead of just staying in this mode, I kind of pushed the hills and just imagined like racing a bit. That was just fun, right? If it's fun, it's good. It's not gonna do anything insane to my training that like overloads me, anything like that. Not on the bike, but it's cool also to feel like when you're really pushing the hills, like 450 watts, and you don't get this like lactate shower response after. It's a good sign. But enough talk. Didn't eat all the cookies, but I ate half of them. Half of them. Wasn't more hungry, so yeah, some more music, and then I'm back in half an hour, and then that's it. So that will be it already for this video. If you enjoyed this type of content, feel free to subscribe to the channel. There's lots more coming, lots more races this year as well, to show you like how that looks like and all. Anything you want to see next in the video, drop it in the comments below. And I will also drop the podcast about the diet thing. I was thinking about that. That is something I believe is important to talk about. Diet and all those things. So yeah, have a great one, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.